Hello, everyone, and welcome to the transmission that we're doing for New Ways of Being and Awakening to New Ways of Being. And I'm grateful to be here with you, as is the Council of Light. So thank you for showing up during this very, very auspicious time. We're preparing for so much. And we're grateful to have those of you here with us live and recognize that each of you is helping to inform the session at the level of your higher selves, and you can feel free to share energetic information with us as we move through the session. Questions, reflections, you can share in the chat. And if you're joining us through the recording on the YouTube channel, we just encourage you to sign up for our newsletter, which is free at embracingtheinfinite.com, and then you can join us for the free live transmissions and get to interact with us live. Interestingly enough, we do want to do a little footnote to that where we explain a little bit that even if you do listen to this 10 years from now and you didn't participate in it live, it's like you're present with us now and you receive benefit. So you can still interact as though it's live, meaning sending us information, sending us questions, because when we navigate this session in a multidimensional way, we are traversing the time spiral continuum, gathering data. So you can actually watch this 10 years from now and say, hey, what about this in the higher realms, right? Send it to us there where we're gathered in the higher realms with your higher selves. And we can help to inform the session. So that helps you approach it no matter when you listen from a very empowered place, which is one of the things I'm being shown for this session really wants to come forward is that next level of empowerment. In addition to that, we want to speak a little bit around what's happening right now energetically and what the energetic opportunities presented are. As we approach the equinox, the spring equinox here in the US and various areas of the world, it might be the fall equinox depending on where you are in the world. But as we approach this new beginning launch point, it is really a launch point into a whole new epoch, a new era, new age, new 26,000 year cycle. So this type of launch point only happens once every 26,000 years. And we're here for it, boots on the ground. How exciting is that? It's super exciting. And recognize that another time around when we were at this precipice moment was Atlantis. And in Atlantis, things got a bit wonky and out of balance. The polarities were really high, as always happens at the end of a 26,000 year cycle as it prepares to begin anew. There's a heightened polarity. And in Atlantis, we weren't balanced with it. We were streaming a lot of our control energy externally, trying to control the outer to try to balance it that way, and or we were coming from, we weren't evolved as we are now, as evolved as we are now. We were coming from a polarity. So we were in a push-pull, we were in a tug of war with something, trying to be right or wrong, trying to win, or overcome. And so that creates massive amounts of tension, and basically things exploded. The ascension could not occur in a balanced way. And so it's like, okay, let's go around again. Let's do another 26,000 year cycle. Take everything we learned from that learning. I'm going to call it unlearning. It could be perceived as a debacle, but it really was a learning. And let's use it for this time around. And I'm happy to report that this time around, there's a high enough percentage of souls and body devas on the planet that have transcended the polarities, meaning integrated the shadow, not coming from a right or wrong, not coming from a push-pull or control out here, control is being placed as it should be on our own columns of light to create the stabilization necessary for the ascension of planet Earth. She is ascending. It's like they're showing me these checkered flags and these things happening because basically she is in the midst of crossing that kind of a finish line, not really a finish line because evolution is continuous, it's always happening, but her ascension, humanity's ascension, is a go this time around. So we're just encouraging each of you to the degree that you choose to recognize no matter what your current experience is, you've had a role in that. Pat yourselves on the back, receive the acknowledgement that's coming forward for you, for having the courage, having the willingness, the tenacity, willing to go through all that you've gone through in all incarnations to get here, to allow this energetic, unprecedented, energetic evolutionary leap to occur. And there's so much celebration in the higher realms. And just because it is underway, it is happening, nothing can stop it, doesn't mean there still isn't work for us to do with regard to our own journey, because the idea is, okay, how do we traverse this in the most harmonious, optimal way so that when we launch the new epoch, we are aligned, we are in our seat of empowerment. We are not in an energy of a polarity of a push-pull, trying to win or lose, or make sure we win or we don't lose, or in resistance to anything. We're leaning into the current that is literally elevating everything. And how do we do that? Well, we do it within our own columns of light. And there's a lot of humor today, so bear with me. The guides are saying, beam me up, Scotty. Beam me up, Scotty. It's like this idea of, okay, lean into your column of light, take the hand of your higher self, and just let go. Allow yourself to be lifted. But in order to do that, we have to make sure we don't have our energy going horizontally, trying to fix or change the outer world, trying to make something or someone right, wrong, good, or bad. So we use our tools when we are triggered in a way where we're in that kind of an energetic conversation with something where we can realign, reorient ourselves to the sovereignty, to the oneness, to the truth that on a soul level, every single being has signed up to play a role in this incarnation, in the script, for us to get certain lessons, for them to get certain lessons, to check off our bucket list as a soul, to evolve. Same for our body devas. And so from that perspective, you're being really, really encouraged here to see through that lens more often, so that you're not in a place of trying to, it's like judge someone or something as right, wrong, good, or bad. You're in a recognition that, okay, what is this teaching me? I'm going to see it through an empowered lens. What is this teaching me if I'm annoyed by something or someone is crossing a boundary? What did I hire them for? What do I wish to learn from this? When we approach it from that way, we kind of bypass the need for forgiveness because we've just leaped into where forgiveness isn't necessary because we see it truly from that higher perspective. That takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of tenacity. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of willingness to see from that perspective. And simultaneously, we have to be able to function in the world. It's like being in the world, but not of it. So how do we, as beings, navigate this time? Each of you are at a very unique place in your evolution by design. You each have massive amounts of energetic information that you've gathered in your journey, not just in this incarnation, but in all your incarnations, that is helping to inform all life beyond this planet through this evolutionary process. So if you haven't done so in a while, we invite you at the level of your higher self, body, Davis, higher self, and teams to work with the energetic fields and the guides to share all the energetic information you have to everyone on and off planet that you have information for, far beyond the intellect. The intellect will always limit what wants to happen because it filters everything. It filters through what we can perceive in a linear way and what we can perceive through a lens of historically what has happened in the past. And we're constantly limited by beliefs, filters, perception if we're only using intellect to choose, to transform, to evolve. You have access to multiple dimensions as a multiple dimensional being, and you have energetic fields, you have a higher self, you have guides, advisors, a spiritual family, the world you're from. You have massive amounts of resources. Ask yourself, how often do you employ those resources? And what would it feel like to begin to access and employ those resources more? Look beyond the physical dimension, to go beyond how we've functioned in the past into a more multidimensional being that is galactic, accessing your galactic resources as well as other, not just functioning from the perception of you as small, as separate, as not having. That's not you. That's perhaps what you've been conditioned to believe and perceive and identify as, but that is not you. So we're going to hold space and bring in some energetic downloads to support you in aligning with and remembering in a greater way who you are and what you actually have access to as an infinite being that is connected to an infinite source. Are you willing to remember? Will you remember? Are you willing to let go of all judgments and conclusions and perceptions of you, stories of you, identities of you that are actually limiting you? And whatever doesn't allow that, will you release and uncreate it? And so what I'm witnessing now are the beings that you affiliate with, galactic and otherwise, like Ascended Masters, also galactic Ascended Masters, galactic councils, inviting, it's like asking permission to encircle you. So each of you is going to have your own unique group. And what they're inviting is to have permission to encircle you and to model to you who you are. It's like they're going to reflect it back to you. So you can just imagine convening with these beings in another realm where they're encircling you, if you're choosing it, and they're reflecting back to you who you are in truth as a being. And they're sharing appropriate energetic information with you. and it may feel a little bit like home. And if you feel like I'm not really feeling anything or it doesn't feel like it's happening, we invite you at the level of your higher self, body's higher self in teams, if you choose, to work with the energetic fields and the guides to bring all of your energy, your awareness, your focus off of everyone and everything, out of the past and the future, back into the now, into your column of light that emanates from source. Orient vertically in your column of light. That creates that direct line. And now we're going to invite the body, Deva, nature spirit that you ride with, that is responsible for the physical human form, an aspect of Gaia that it is. We're going to invite the body, Deva, nature spirit at the level of its higher self to locate a dimension where it can go that's safe and supportive and clean and clear, and be with Gaia, Earth, at the level of her higher self. So Goddess Gaia and the enlightened nature spirits, and perhaps even some magical nature spirit beings that are benevolent, like the enlightened dragons or the fairies or whatever your body Deva resonates with. We want to allow the body Deva to choose. It could be the tree people or the crystal people or the rock people. Your body Deva will know where it wants to go and who it wants to be part of that circle. And we're going to invite also any galactic beings that are affiliated with your particular body Deva at the level of the DNA. Again, benevolent, ideally enlightened, galactic beings that are appropriate to encircle your body Deva in an appropriate, safe, supportive dimension. And to the degree that your body chooses, your body Deva chooses for itself, are you willing to be reminded of who you are, body Deva? Will you let these beings support you in that? And then we're going to invite each of your team members, each of your body Deva's team members, to do the same. Appropriate dimensions, safe, supportive, maybe even crystal chambers for some of these beings, team member beings, to go and be encircled by the beings that are perfect for them, that can help support them in remembering their true essence, the truth of who you are as an infinite being. So just continue to sit, if you choose, encircled by these beings of love and light that know you beyond this current perspective, earth realm, boots on the ground. Okay, who am I in truth? Will you remind me? Guides, beings of love and light. And specifically, we're going to make an invitation request here for you to work in that circle with your future self as an ascended master, to come back in time and to be with you and remind you and model to you your unique passion and mastery, and to share energetic information with you that can support you as a being in remembering your unique passion and mastery, and feel it. It's like, relate to it as much as you can as just a vibration that you're after. Everything else is secondary. The frequency comes first, the vibration, the resonance comes first, and then it will reflect into the physical dimension as something. But first you want to remember it vibrationally. So again, we recommend keeping the intellect in the balcony for this. It's like, intellect, you can take a seat. I'm going to do this energetically far beyond the mind. Nothing right or wrong with the intellect. It just can limit what we're choosing because it wants to filter it through what it currently decides is familiar to it. There we go. Okay. I just felt the expansion So now we're going to invite your body, Deva, to also sit with its future self in a fully enlightened state. And remember, it's mastery and its passion, which is going to be unique for the body, Deva. Recognize that your mastery and passion, your body's mastery and passion are going to be complementary. They're saying, the guides are saying, the dynamic duo. So recognize that it's a collaboration and it's meant to be in a harmonic, balanced, aligned, very synchronistic, energetic symphony. Like when you are in your resonance, your body, Deva's in its unique resonance at a blueprint level, essence level, not distorted by expectations of others or even our own expectations of how we've limited ourselves based on what we thought was possible. So are you willing to let go of all those expectations, judgments, conclusions that maybe were projected onto you or taught? Maybe there's ancestral grids that you're trying to fit into, and they're showing me the idea of the snake shedding its skin or taking off an old pair of shoes, taking off a fabric, a cloak that you were wearing that is no longer yours to wear. It's limiting you. And so you can be in this sacred circle, in this sacred chamber with these beings of love and light and just invite your future self as an ascended master, your higher self, to help you shed the skins you're ready to shed, release the fabric that is no longer current for you as a being. You've evolved so much, and it's time for a new fabric. During this time of preparation for the new epoch, for the spring equinox or fall equinox, if you're in the other hemisphere, this launch point, it's like we're being invited to let go of what we can't take with us or what we're not meant to take with us, what we've outgrown. And so to move into the higher octave and to be able to launch in a clean, clear way, we want to be untethered to the old, ideally. So I'm just witnessing the shedding of the old. And can we show you who you are without it, how you function beyond it? And then inviting you at the level of your higher self, bodies, higher self, and teams to start weaving your own new fabric. So for some of you, I'm being shown actually it's the support grids and the roots. You might feel energy moving in the legs and the feet. So just allow for that release of what no longer works for you and the reweaving of the new, if you choose. It's a choice. And when we do this in a conscious way, which we are doing in these kinds of sessions, it's so much more empowering. It happens much more quickly, and we don't have to roll around in the release part for months or years. We can just take time to witness, to invite and allow for the gentle release and the reweaving of the new grids, new fabric. And so for some of you, you might witness it as you meeting with your higher self or your future self in a fully enlightened state, surrounded by beings of love and light, holding a safe and sacred space. And you take off one cloak and you put on a new one. Your higher self hands you a new one. That might be your way of traversing this process. For others, you may actually imagine, intend an actual weaving of the fabric. But recognize that every time you're moving through experience in the physical dimension, some part of you in a higher realm is weaving a new fabric that represents, you could say, the beyond or the solution to what you're currently traversing, going through, any challenge you're currently experiencing. And so yes, we can witness like the completion of that weaving, or we can witness the whole weaving if we want, but recognize that it has been happening in a higher dimension by some part of you. Not conscious, right? You weren't conscious of it, but it was happening. It's really always happening. And as you bring in the new fabric, We just hold space for you to consciously choose perhaps qualities that you're choosing to invite more of in your experience. So it could be empowerment. So it would be this idea of, okay, I want this new cloak to carry with it more empowered energy, or maybe more joy, or maybe more peace, or sovereignty, or support, or love, or connection. And so just hold space for you to get to choose, right? You can choose, okay, I want to step into more connection, more empowerment, more freedom, more flow. Make that a part of the creation, the co-creation of that new that you're welcoming. And then we're going to invite the bodied even nature spirit, the level of its higher self, to work with the energetic fields and the guides and its future self in a fully enlightened state in an appropriate, safe, supportive chamber. It might already be there, where it can shed its skin that it's outgrown and bring in its new fabric. Or maybe simply reveal the new fabric by shedding the skin of the old, returning what's not yours, sending appropriate energetic information. It's like a conscious energetic metamorphosis is really what we're witnessing here. Holding space for. And then we're going to invite the teams, your teams, your body's teams, to do it for themselves. It's like a graduation, next level. Review all the lessons, activate the vibrations of the lessons at stage before, bring in the new fabric, release the old fabric. And we're going to also make a request for any of the team members that are holding anything in their energetic fields that does not belong to them to return it, to send information, return responsibility for it back to its right and perfect place. And we're also going to invite a healing and a recalibration for the teams, because we kind of don't maybe spend enough time supporting the teams in these sessions. So we're just going to invite anything they need to harmonize within themselves, shift, balance within themselves, to do so now. Sometimes in the journey, team members can take the hit for us. They can serve sometimes as energetic bouncers in a way. And so we need to take time to support them and invite them to also clean their energetic fields, rebalance themselves, balance their electrical and magnetic energy, and activate and amplify the supportive qualities within themselves that they desire as they bring in their new fabric. I'm just witnessing now a lot of the team members that had traumas that they hadn't fully healed, setting up chambers to go back and heal those traumas fully. You've probably served as a team member at some point for an incarnate soul. And every being is always constantly evolving. And in this intense time of, again, polarity play out, everything is coming up to be seen. So now, because the veils are thinner now, and they're going to continue to thin in this process, as basically what thinning of the veils is dimensional merges happening. And because there's these high frequencies coming onto the planet, the dimensions are merging almost constantly, which is what ascension is. It's moving into a higher octave. And then we tend to create, as a result of jumping into a higher octave, merging into a higher octave, new timelines emerge, because now we're in a higher potential, a higher potentiality. We have a vibrational proximity to higher octave possibilities than we did a moment ago or a year ago. And so We want to recognize that because things are evolving at such an accelerated pace right now, we're having to do probably more energetic, conscious energetic work than we ever have in any lifetime. Number one, because we're evolved enough and we're conscious enough to be able to do this type of work. And number two, because we're in an acceleration, which is a good thing. A quickening is how it can also be called, a quickening. As we approach the singularity, it's going to speed up more. And so evolution's happening at a faster pace. 10 years ago, we probably didn't have to do as much energy work as we do now. But it's like what we learned from Atlantis is how do we navigate this type of thing in a balanced way, in an optimal way? And we gathered all that data and we're employing it for ourselves now in this incarnation. And yes, it's a little bit of rolling up our sleeves, but the benefits are worth it. The benefits are far outweigh maybe the inconvenience of having to focus a little bit more on managing our energetic fields and doing energetic processes. Because if we do it consciously, we bypass the need for a challenge in the outer world to show up to evolve us. We take the reins for our evolution. We start to traverse it in a very conscious, healthy way, empowered way, where we're basically holding the responsibility for our evolution at the level of our higher selves and co-creating it, rather than unconsciously getting tumbled in the surf and going through the struggle, the suffering, the perceptions of disconnection and being disempowered like it's being done to us, because we've decided to step forward and to say, I'm going to do this for me in collaboration with my higher self. And take a moment. We're going to invite you to remember when you were standing on the platform prior to launch into this incarnation, you were so excited that you were going to get to consciously participate in your own evolution while you had access to the feedback loop, the reflection, boots on the ground, the density that allows us to see things more clearly. You didn't have to unconsciously go about it and bumble around and hope you figured it out in some way. And it was a lot slower. It takes a lot longer to evolve ourselves when we're doing it unconsciously. So we can have compassion for the majority of humanity that is doing evolution unconsciously, because we've all done it. And we can share information with them. We can model the solution by doing it for ourselves, by taking the reins for ourselves and saying, I'm going to do this for me. I'm the only one that can do it for me. I'm the only one that can choose for me. And I can't choose for anyone else. So let me focus on my own evolution, my own journey, my own alignment, using my control energy on me, for me, to shift me. And then it reflects in my outer world. Whatever I'm choosing to hone within me begins to reflect more. And then I'm not in fear because I don't have my control energy streaming externally. Because if I have my control energy streaming externally, I'm going to start to feel out of control and like I can't trust what's happening, because I've literally given my power to something outside of me to be source for my safety, for my support, for my freedom, for my empowerment, for my awakening. So take a moment, if that resonates, that you've maybe done that. We've all done it in the past. And invite your higher self, body's higher self in teams, to retrieve, energetically reference and retrieve all responsibility for your needs, for your evolution, off of everyone and everything in the outer world, in the outer circumstances. Retrieve all that energetic responsibility. It is your power. And this is going to sound a little weird, but even giving others responsibility to honor your boundaries is giving your power away. You want to retrieve all responsibility for you, for your boundaries being honored, for you as a being honored, back to you, holding all responsibility at the level of your higher self. We're going to show you what we mean by that, and we're going to model it. We're going to invite the body, Deva, nature, spirit teams to do the same. Retrieve all your responsibility back for you, for your own evolution, for your freedom, for your love, for your empowerment, for your joy, for your support and your safety, even for the trust and the flow. Hold that responsibility at the level of the higher self so you can receive it at source level within your column of light, retrieving all your receptors for receiving all of those yummy divine nectar qualities. And just imagine you have this waterfall of those qualities in your column of light. Receive it there. Get it there. Then there's no lack. Lack dissolves. Lack is there to get your attention, to show you you're attempting to source something externally. So if it's lack of finances, for example, and that lack of finances has you feeling not supported, that's an indicator that you're trying to source support externally on money or on the job or on another person, whatever it is. Or even family, if it's like a trust fund. If it's that the financial, but I don't feel safe because the financial isn't showing up the way I want it to. Okay, again, what's it teaching me? What's it showing me? What have I literally hired my finances to lead me back to me for? Oh, I've made it responsible for me being safe. Oh, retrieve all responsibility for my safety back to me, higher self. Hold it at the level of the higher self. Retrieve all my reference points for my safety back to me, meaning my light, you, your light. Open to receive that safety internally and vertically as a vibration, frequency first. Activate and amplify the safety more till you feel the energetic shift. And then lift any attachment you've placed on the external, trying to make it be, that's your control energy, again, aspect of your power, trying to make it be different, wanting it to be different. That's also your fuel, your desire, part of your creative current. Retrieve all that off of the external, clean it, recalibrate it, re-embed it on you, for you. Anywhere you're noticing you're doing this, you might jot it down and go through every single one of those separately. Okay, well, I'm kind of doing it with finances, and I'm kind of doing it with maybe my health, my body's health. Maybe I'm kind of doing it with job or home or family or relationship. And just notice, maybe even with food. And deep breath in. Your superpower, the Council of Light stepping forward for this, your superpower is your ability to be aware of what you're doing. Can you take a moment and celebrate your awareness that you probably take for granted because you probably seems like you were born with it? That awareness that you have, you wouldn't be here if you didn't have it. Your ability to be aware, to see what you're doing, to observe, to look at. You spent lifetimes cultivating that awareness, that level of awareness, and the willingness to be aware. And sometimes what we do as beings is we assume others have it, the ability to be aware or even the willingness to be aware, and they do not. They're in the midst of cultivating it. It's like a second grader starting to learn its numbers or starting to learn something about math, maybe not math yet, but starting to learn. And by the time they're a senior, they might be able to do advanced algebra or calculus. But as a second grader, they're just starting to cultivate awareness, or maybe even the willingness to be aware. So we have to be conscious and aware as beings that we're not projecting our level of consciousness onto others. Just like a senior wouldn't expect a second grader to be able to read at its level or do math at its level or whatever. Very different levels of consciousness, very different levels of learning. Not right, wrong, good, or bad. We've all been the second grader at some point in our evolution and our journey. So anywhere you've been expecting second graders in the collective to be more evolved than they are, can we show you how to release and uncreate that and move into a new relationship with it where you're seeing it through a more empowered lens, a more aligned lens, and more accurate, like oneness lens? And are you willing to let go of any judgment or attachment you've placed on others, thinking they should be more evolved? So what I'm seeing is this idea of someone who's 50 years old or 60 years old or even 30 years old, like what we would consider an adult, someone who should know better, right? That's the saying, they should know better. What if there is a 2-year-old on the planet that is an old soul that is highly evolved, but there's this 30 or 40 or 50 or 60-year-old that's a really young soul? The 2-year-old might actually know better, honestly. But the 50, 60, 70-year-old as a young soul, still in its learning, still cultivating, again, the willingness or the courage or whatever it needs to cultivate to be ready for the next step, the next level. What if they don't know better? And so rather than judging by age and projecting expectations onto others and doing that dance, what if we could sit back, stay in our lane, only know for ourselves how evolved we are, be appreciative of the level of awareness you've cultivated for yourself, be appreciative of the courage and the strength and the empowerment and the love and the kindness. Whatever it is, you've cultivated it. That doesn't mean this other being has. It's one of the reasons we came, is to create a pathway, several pathways, trillions of pathways, for the evolution to happen in a more harmonious way for these beings. We came from other worlds to help this world, not from Savior, from oneness. It's part of oneness. We didn't come here to save anyone or anything. We came here for the sake of evolution. We answered the call, we volunteered, and were chosen. And it's life evolving life. We're all in this together. It's not coming from separation. Savior is a separation-based codependent template. That's being retired. It's in the process of being retired. And it's one of the reasons this go around, this ending of a 26,000-year cycle, is what we could label successful, in that Gaia is ascending. Humanity is ascending. That doesn't mean that tomorrow we're going to wake up and everybody's going to be enlightened. That's not what it means. It means there's a certain threshold of frequency that has been reached, that there's no going back. And the frequencies will continue to rise, will continue to elevate, which means that whatever spawns from that, whatever births from that, is going to be at a higher frequency. There is no other way. It is law. And in the process of this evolutionary leap and jumping to a higher frequency, there's going to be a renovation that takes place. The old systems cannot sustain. They have to be renovated, refurbished, reborn in order for the new to be the new. And so you take a moment and invite your higher self, Body Davis higher self in teams, to work with the energetic fields and the guides to reference any attachment you've placed externally. Wanting others to be different, wanting situations and circumstances to be different. And retrieve all that wanting and desire off of everyone and everything. That's your creative life force and your power. Retrieve it, clean it, recalibrate it for your current level of consciousness if you choose, and reweave it in and around you. So you get to have all your energy on you for you as you make this unprecedented crossing of a threshold into a new epoch and a new era. And yes, a golden age. You have arrived. You might take a moment to celebrate that. No matter what your current physical realm, situation, or circumstance looks like, that is what's real behind the scenes. And the more that you lean into welcoming that as your truth, as what you focus upon, as what you choose to agree with, you begin to welcome that new reality for you, the upgrade. And will you welcome the upgrade? Can we show you how to turn to welcome the new instead of clinging to the old? And you might even invite your future self on the other side of that bridge of welcoming the new to come back in time and to walk with you and to share information with you and to help you align with the welcoming of your next level of expression, your upgrade. And we're going to invite the Body Deva and teams to do the same. And as we traverse this very, again, auspicious time, unprecedented and auspicious, we are going to be doing a 5-day immersion over the equinox. And I'm so excited about it because I was shown last fall. I usually don't get that much of a heads up that we're going to be offering something, but it was probably around October, maybe even before that. I was shown to offer a 5-day immersion. It kind of waffled between 5 days and 7 days, and it finally grounded as 5 days around December, to offer a 5-day immersion over the equinox. And you have the invitation to journey with us if you choose. It will be over Zoom, and we're going to be looking at, depending on who shows up, the group, how can we navigate it in the most optimal way, launch in the most optimal way. And one of the pieces to this that I was shown a couple days ago was, as the veils thin more and more and more, as the dimensions keep merging, as we approach the equinox that's going to happen more and more and more, the galactic councils are gathering. It's like they're gathering the ascended masters that are galactic, and galactic councils are gathering for the spring equinox. They're gathering in the higher realms. So the gathering we're hosting in the physical dimension for that 5-day immersion is a part of that. It's like a reflection of the gathering that is happening. And they're going to be helping to guide us through processes. They're saying alignments, vibrational alignments, processes for, again, it's like this was maybe a mini version of that, but it's like a metamorphosis into who we are meant to become for this new era, this new epoch. And so if it resonates for you to join us for that, we still have a partial scholarship left, and as well as full tuition option. You can find it on our website at embracingtheinfinite.com. And if you listen to this after the fact, again, we mentioned at the beginning, so everything can be retroactive depending on when you listen. You can listen to this 10 years from now and intend to be listening to it at the time it was recorded, and it can then have that ripple effect, positively empathically impacting you. So the same is true for the immersion. If you do it after the fact, it still benefits you in tremendous ways. It's really kind of cool how that happens because time is linear in this perspective, but from the higher perspective, it is not. It is multidimensional, and there isn't linear time, and so we can manipulate time in a way from those higher dimensional vantage points. So feel into your knowing. If you're guided to join us, it starts on March 17th and we will end on the 21st. So we will be together for that spring equinox on the 20th. And it's just exciting. I'm excited about it. So much goodness. I'm just asking them if there's anything else they want to say about it. They're saying a part of you will know if it's for you. And part of what we're being invited to do, because things are changing so much in a very short amount of time for those of us boots on the ground. It's happening in the higher realms, and then it reflects here, the change. You're really encouraged to follow your knowing and go around the intellect, because what you perceive is your circumstance right now. In 2 months, 3 months, it could be very different in a good way. Again, everything is upgrading. So we encourage you to link into the knowing that everything is upgrading, because that's actually what's true. It's a paradox, because for some, if you're not linked into that knowing, it can appear as though everything is going the other direction. It's actually not. It's all upgrading right now. And so, and how do you know that? Well, feel into your column of light. Feel into your knowing, your higher self. And when we say this, you can feel the resonance, whether it resonates is true or not. The frequencies on planet Earth are elevating every single day. At a higher frequency, everything shows up in a more honoring way, more harmonic. Does that feel true to you? You don't have to believe us when we tell you. You get to gauge it through your own knowing, through your own resonance. As everything moves into the more harmonic, as dimensions merge, it's basically what wasn't harmonic, that skin being shed or let go or dissolved, and we're moving then into more harmonic. Every time we get these high frequency downloads onto the planet, another lower dimensional timeline dissolves and we move into more harmonic. It's actually more than just one at a time, it's many at a time. And so we keep moving into the more harmonic, the more harmonic. Now, you as a being still have free will. So you can choose to see through the lens of everything's going wrong, and like a lens of not being connected to source, like separate, not supported, not safe. If you identify there, that becomes your experience. This time is no different. So it's about you choosing, if you choose, to align with the harmonic reality that is birthing at this time and that is continuing to upgrade in every day, every moment. As I align to the harmonic, I link into those grids. That becomes my world. And then as you're choosing for you to give yourself a gift of support through this particular threshold, welcoming of the new, you then amplify your optimal experience, upgrade, everything. It's like when you shoot an arrow, how you aim it matters, right? When you let it go, if you're a little bit too high or too low, it may not hit the target. But if you calibrate appropriately, if you optimize your aim, your launch point, and then you launch, you'll hit your target. And so feel into the idea that it may be very supportive for you to join us. And if it resonates, please do join us. I think an aspect of it will also be um, a few, I'm not showing you it won't be the whole time. It's just like there'll be a few moments where we'll be invited to be of service in supporting Gaia and humanity. And it's really about more Gaia because when we support Gaia, that reflects to all the nature spirits and body devas on planet Earth. And she's really steering her own ship. But at times, just like each of us can use a little help with an adjustment, um, she can get some help with an adjustment at times. And I'm being shown also this time is auspicious because Venus is in retrograde, and there's something about that. It's a 40-day retrograde period um, that's helping with the preparation, and it's helping with the whole thing. They're showing me, and Mercury's involved too, I guess. They're showing me that. But there's something with that and the divine feminine and the elevation of the divine feminine, the healing perhaps related to Gaia, divine feminine. So I'm not clear on what that is yet, but I know that it will become clear, and it's one of the aspects of what wants to come through in those 5 days. Um, so again, you can feel into whether or not that resonates. And then we're going to be doing some more of these new ways of being transmissions. So just watch your inbox for that. And if you're not on our newsletter, feel free to sign up for free. You also get 2 free other transmissions when you sign up for our newsletter, helping to graduate from struggle. And then the other thing we're going to be offering again is expanding new ways of being, which is a group interactive session. And we'll probably offer the next one at the end of March, simply because I'd like to do them every 2 to 3 weeks, but because the immersion is falling during that time, it'll probably be after that. So you can watch for that announcement. I just got the call that it was being called forth for us to do opportunities for interaction. And so the expanding new ways of being um, will be uh, that opportunity for group interactive work with us. So for the immersion, the question came in wanting to know about, there's a couple good questions actually. So one of the questions is about the immersion, and the question is what times of day? And so we're going to do it, it'll be about 5 to 6 hours every day, depending on, I'll have to feel for when the energy feels full and we need to complete. But time frames, Central Time, around 11 a.m. to around 5 p.m. with a break for lunch. So 5 to 6 hours. So sometimes we go a little long. That's why I'm saying that. 5 hours is probably good. We do too much. We don't want to do too much because we can get too energetically full, especially with everything that's happening right now with the influxes of light. So I have to be conscious of that. I have to be conscious that we have to pace ourselves and then recognize that anytime you do that type of immersion with us or group work with us that's consistent, like a series, we're working with you in the higher realms from the moment you enroll and also each night. So it's far beyond the physical realm session time together, but it's from around 11 to around 5 each day, 4:35. And the other question was that you wrote in the chat was, in 10 years, will the energetics of this still be relevant? So always follow your guidance, but honestly, the energetics of this session, they're showing me there's about 12 layers to this session, and we're going to do one more process here before we complete. So right now there's about 12. There might be more than that by the time we complete. And so you could listen 12 times, or you could listen once, depending on you and what resonates. Anytime you're at a threshold of an end of cycle and you're preparing to launch into a new cycle. So if you think about that, that happens all the time. Every season, ending one season, welcoming a new season, every moon cycle. So maybe a few days before a new moon, you could re-listen to this. Or if you're ready, if you're beginning a new chapter in your life, it could be a few days before your birthday or a week or two before your birthday. Even up to 3 weeks, they're saying before your birthday. So play with this idea that you want to just lean into what is resonating for you now. And we have a lot of these videos on our YouTube channel where you can go and you can look and say, okay, this one's speaking to me. And I don't know why the title doesn't even make sense to me that it would resonate right now, but this is the one I'm being drawn to, and recognize that it's meant for you to support you in that, whatever you're in the moment, or your body, David, is in the moment. So good question. Good, perfect. Excellent. And so there was one other process I wanted to do. Let me just check my notes here. Okay, I'm going to ask the guides because I actually did them all, but they're saying there's one more, so hang on. Mm. So they want to bring in a process to support you in welcoming your greatest, most it's like happiest, most fulfilling. They're showing me a doorway. So it's like aligning to the doorway that supports your greatest and highest good. And then the funny thing is, we as humans, right, we can align to the doorway, but then when we get to the doorway, we have to be willing to say yes to the doorway. And sometimes it's a series of doorways. And so what this process is going to do is it's going to help you align to whatever that first step is or that first doorway is. And so we're going to bring that in now. And you might just imagine for a moment that this is a doorway to the next cycle, the next phase. Mm. They're also reminding me that there is a lunar eclipse next week. I think it's Friday. Okay. So they're going to weave in we're kind of already in the eclipse energy, energetic, which is all about change. Change is an interesting thing because if we're welcoming change, it can actually be empowering and inspiring and joyful. If we're in resistance to it, we can have a whole different experience with it. And so take a moment, inviting you to take a deep breath in, leaning into your column of light, remembering you as a ray of light emanating directly from source. Bringing your focus internally and vertically. And as you orient, as the ray of light that you be, we invite your body, diva, nature, spirit to orient for itself as its own ray of light, emanating from the heart of Gaia and the heart of Source. Teams, same, in your own unique way, emanate as your rays of light and orient to that emanation. You might have just felt a greater presence drop in, stillness drop in. And we invite you to reference a dimension that is super safe and supportive, clean and clear. Maybe it's a beautiful field, flowers, or something near an ocean or a beach. Maybe it's the top of a mountain. Maybe it's a crystal chamber. Maybe it's an orb of light. And as you locate this sacred space, imagine your guides and advisors, beings of love and light there that support you in your journey, even your spiritual family from the world you're from. And imagine your future self as an ascended master there with you. And as you sit with or stand with your future self as an ascended master, ask the question to your future self: would you be willing to help me energetically, far beyond the mind, locate the doorway to my greatest happiness, greatest fulfillment, highest good? And I'm going to let go of what I think that is so that it can upgrade even more. Would you be willing, future self as an ascended master, to show me, maybe even escort me to that doorway? And whatever doesn't allow that, will you release and uncreate it? We're going to invite the body given nature spirit to do the same with its future self in a fully enlightened state. Team, same. Now, it doesn't have to be the same doorway. Think of it as though you're riding tandem. You each have your own path, but they coincide and they intermingle and they create a symphony. Very synchronistic collaboration of light. And then as some part of you, far beyond the mind, energetically references that doorway, you can place a little tiny anchor there. It's like a signpost. It's like a beacon, they're saying, to help bring you to it energetically. And then hold all your attachment in the higher realm where you're locating that doorway and making your way to it. And then you can ask your higher self and your future self in a fully enlightened state, body same, team same, Would you be willing to help me go through that door? Would you be willing to help me calibrate my energetic fields for this door and calibrate my energetic fields to be able to walk through it? And then if you're choosing it, we encourage you to say out loud, I'm willing. And then you can invite and imagine your future self in a fully enlightened state supporting you over the next week and a half, 10 days, even with the lunar eclipse time, shedding, letting go of what's not allowing you to cross that threshold. And this isn't something happening to you from anyone outside of you. It's about being willing to shed a fabric you've outgrown, a vibrational stance that you've outgrown, that you can't take with you through that doorway. And then allowing that work to continue, holding vigil for that work. They're saying, we will hold vigil for this work in the higher realms for you, and circle and hold vigil for the next 10 to 12 days as you prepare to welcome the new. And hold the energetic weight not in the physical dimension, but in the higher realm. I'm just walking through a door there. I'm calibrating my energetic fields and letting go of what I can't take with me that's vibrationally incompatible. And I'm walking through that door. And it can be really easy. It doesn't have to be something in the physical dimension that tumbles me in the surf, that forces me to let go of a fabric or move into a new stance. I'm going to proactively do it in a higher realm. And then I bypass the need for the physical realm stuff to evolve me. It doesn't have to be responsible for evolving me. I can take the reins to evolve me. And I can do it in a higher dimension. And I can choose to work with my higher self and my future self as an ascended master to calibrate my energetic fields appropriately and to move into the appropriate stance that allows me to very gracefully, safely, supported, empowered, walk through that door when I'm ready vibrationally. And also they're saying don't hold the energetic weight on a time in the linear sense. So it's like, ooh, I have to finish that process by the equinox. Recognize that the doorway, yes, there's an optimal traversing of things over that equinox time period, but it's more than a day. It's there's showing me like there's time before the equinox and time after the equinox that encompasses that same threshold. And it's most potent at the time of the equinox. There's a heightened potency to it. But there's leeway there. So don't put pressure on yourself to have to complete it by a certain date, a certain time. It's hold the knowing that some part of you is located that doorway and you're preparing. You're going to spend the next however long you need to prepare energetically to walk through the door. Your body, Dave, is doing the same. Your teams are doing the same. So this may result in a bit of a detox physically. So salt baths are always good. Drink a lot of water. Ideally, you want to do it slow and steady. So again, we're encouraging that. Don't put pressure on it needing to happen really quickly. Slow and steady in a higher realm. Some part of me, my body, and teams are preparing to walk through this door, calibrating our energetic fields to walk through this door. And then as using your superpower of awareness, as things drop into you, awarenesses of, oh, I want more freedom, or I want to feel more empowered, or I'd like to feel more loved, or I'd like to feel more supported. And so if we get the opposite experience, right, where something shows up that triggers us not feeling supported, that's an indicator, oh, I want more support. I want more freedom. If it's freedom that gets triggered, oh, I'm not free, or I don't get to choose, that could be empowerment. So play with the idea that over this next period of 10 days to 2 weeks or more, these awarenesses may drop in for you to be, it's like refining your stance as you walk through the door. You could also think of it as refining your aim as you let go of the arrow. Ooh, more support. Ooh, more freedom. Ooh, more empowerment. And then imagine then sending that request up to you in that higher realm with your future self as an ascended master preparing to walk through the door. Hone the stance for more empowerment or for more freedom or more support. Whatever's dropping in for you as you, it's like engage observer mode. And that's what we're encouraging you to do over the next few weeks and really, really for the next however long, because there's going to be a lot of turbulence in the collective. That doesn't mean you have to experience turbulence, but play with this idea. Okay, I'm gonna activate observer mode. I'm gonna employ my superpower of awareness. I'm going to be more grateful that I am aware. I'm not going to be attached to anyone else being aware. I'm so grateful that I am aware. I'm so grateful that I am evolved to where I am, where I can do conscious evolutionary practices and I don't have to get tumbled in the surf. Good. We invite a balancing and stabilizing of all your energetic fields, updating all grids, all reference points, all ways in which you perceive and are perceived. And we're just encouraging you to cocoon your energetic fields in a way that feels supportive and empowering for you to help seal in this work. It's almost like a little sacred chamber you're going to be in while you integrate this work. And we welcome your feedback. Feel free to share any feedback with us. We're also going to put a link below when we post this video on YouTube to sign up for our newsletter to make it easier for those of you who have not already done that. And also a link for the immersion itself so you can check it out. And thank you so much for being willing to evolve in a conscious way. And the guides in the Council of Light, the galactic beings are gathering and they're inviting a remembering of your essence in a greater way as you traverse this gateway, this threshold into a new epoch. And they're sharing their gratitude for your willingness to be boots on the ground during this very unprecedented time. Much love.